That's a sad go-to.
It is.
The fact that their go-to is that they hurt one of our players one time is such a sad way to go.
God.
Alan Lazard. You try to put him down low because maybe you won't see him.
John, any last words before we hop off here?
Go Pack, go, baby.
Go Pack, go. The one thing that's keeping me from taking the Packers to win by 30.
I don't care if you go to every game, what game. Not only that, but you are in the second row.
Yeah.
The second row. And you're going to try to tell me to sit down? Get lost.
Get freaking lost. Thank you all for tuning in, commenting. We love chatting with you guys. Enjoy the game. Check us out on Twitter, at Rob Westerman3 for me, at JBeckman30 for John. Have a great rest of your day. Let's get a win, and let's go freaking bear hunting, all right? We'll catch you guys later. Thank you. What is going on, everybody? You like that, Johnny?
I do. I like that.
Good. I'm Rob Westerman of GVP Daily, and joining me, as always, on Pack Casual in what is the 10th overall episode is the one and only Johnathan Beckman. How we doing, John? How we doing? How was the intro?
The intro was great. I didn't realize you put that together. Hopefully we can say something tonight that will make the next intro.
Yes, sir. So how we feeling after the win on Sunday?
Feeling good. Accomplished.
Yeah,
I was accomplished. I felt like it was a good win.
Accomplished but not satisfied. Let's say that.
Yeah, it was an accomplished win. Felt like we won the game the way that I was hoping that we would. It wasn't anything incredibly dominating, but it was. I didn't feel like any time except for the first two series. I felt besides that, Green Bay was clearly the better team.
Yep. No, I completely agree. Let's dive in. Some Packers news to highlight before we get started. D-Bach is back practicing this week. We've got, I think, 5 weeks or so to activate him to the 53-man roster. I would honestly be shocked if I see him on the field this Sunday against the Washington football team. I'd be surprised if we see him go in Arizona. However, I could see his first game being back against the Chiefs on November 7th. I hope it's for that, but only time will tell. John, if you had to guess, what game will be his first back? We got Washington Sunday, Arizona Thursday, 4 days later. Then KC after the mini bye. What do you think?
I would say, I'd be surprised if he played this weekend. You just would. But then it's a fast turnaround time for Arizona.
Yep.
That Thursday night. It's a big game. I just have a feeling he's gonna. I think you're probably right with that third game. But I just feel like there's something about that Thursday night game. It's going to be a big game, I think, which I don't think determines whether he plays or not. It's just kind of like in the feels. Like I just feel like I think he might suit up. You're probably right, though, the third against the Chiefs, though.
Yeah, after that mini bye. We'll see. Preston Smith did not practice today because of an oblique injury. Darnell Savage didn't practice today because of concussion. Josh Myers didn't practice today because of a knee injury, and Dennis Kelly didn't either because of a back injury. As Rodgers said during his presser today, this season, partly due to the amount of injuries and guys stepping in to produce, is reminding him of the 2010 season. Other news, Packers signed former Texans DN Whitney Merciless. With Preston having the oblique injury, obviously Goody decided to add some depth, so some help to that defensive front. Do these in-season moves to you clarify that Goot is, in fact, all in this year? Is Rodgers having any say as far as encouraging the front office to make some moves? Obviously, we'll never know, but what do you think?
I don't think we'll ever know, but I think there's a lot of pressure that was put on Gutekunst this year that he seems like the kind of guy that'll do his job no matter what, right? Yeah. However he wants to do it, he'll do it. We know Ted Thompson, he didn't care what anybody thought.
No.
But I think it's probably a little bit hard for Gutekunst not to feel like the Packer world is breathing down his neck. Rodgers earlier this today said kind of has a 2010 feel to it, where guys were getting hurt and they added some key pieces throughout the year that ended up making some impact. I mean, hey, all we ask is that we're proactive. I'm not saying the whole, have to go get Odell or have to go get Gilmore type thing, but at least do something.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know if he has any encouraging words for the front office, but like you said, there's a lot of pressure on him, and I'm with you. I think that they're probably a little more active than usual, but so far it's paying off. Obviously we saw Rasul Douglas come in and play a good game the other day after Yadam got picked on that first drive.
Yeah.
Other news: cornerback Quinton Dunbar was released from the practice squad, and in response, in response to Packers signed linebacker Aaron Adoye to the practice squad. Jair Alexander's shoulder injury, according to coach, is healing nicely. However, he could not 100% rule out the option of surgery, which if he did get surgery this season, his season would be over. We'll just have to wait and see for another update to narrow down his situation. Last but certainly not least, John, Tim Harris and Greg Jennings will be inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame next September. With that, I've got a barn burner question for you. Who is the best wide receiver of the Rodgers era from these guys? Jennings, Driver, Jordy, or Devontae?
Jennings, Driver, Jordy, or Devontae. Yeah, I said that right.
Yep.
The best receiver? I mean, to me, without a doubt, I mean, and to most guys, you're going to say Devontae. I mean, you can't convince me that it's not Devontae Adams at this point. He's just too dominant. I mean, Jordy and him. I mean, he's the only other guy that, like, Jordy had a really good, what do I want to say, connection with Rodgers. And we always really liked him. But I think it was always kind of one of those things that we didn't ever think he was like a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
Like I didn't even think he was necessarily a top 5 talent, but I was like, he's probably in that 5 to 10 range.
Yeah.
But because of Rodgers and because he does everything right, he gets the spots that he's there. Like, he was definitely probably a top 10 receiver. But as far as like talent, I mean, Devontae's clearly the guy. I mean,
and during Jordy's era, there was Julio Jones. I mean, even Calvin early on.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. I mean, AJ Green. There was all that. I mean, so for me, it's gonna go Devontae, Jordy.
Ooh.
Then Greg Jennings, and then Driver. I mean, Driver was at the end of his career for Rodgers.
Yeah, so, I threw him in there. I mean,
so it's a little bit harder to, like, you know how that goes. Like like Green Bay, I guess it's kind of hard to say this. Got Julius Peppers. He might not have been at Julius Peppers' most prime time, but it's just, if you get a guy for 1 or 2 years, like a Jeff Saturday, right?
Yep.
Like, you can't necessarily say he's best Packer of all time, best Packer center of all time, right?
Right.
But he's a crazy good center, right? So I guess that's the only reason why I would say Driver's probably at the bottom of the list, because he played a little bit less with Rodgers. And honestly, I wish we would have had Jennings for a little bit longer, and maybe that would have changed, because Jennings was.
Yeah. He's a monster, dude. I'm agreeing with you. I'm going with Devontae. Greg Jennings was absolutely one hell of a player, and his routes were just absolutely crispy. He also played his ass off in the Super Bowl, and the 2 touchdowns, one over the middle when he got smashed by Palomalu. In that 3rd and 10 catch late in the game, one of my favorite Packer plays of all time. You know what I'm talking about. Rodgers threads the needle right over. I mean, come on, man.
And Ryan Clark was this. I mean, he talks about that
all the time, man. That throw was insane for Jennings to pick that out of the air like that.
He's like, I thought I had him
on 3rd and 10, dude. We would have had to punt the ball just up by only was it 2?
I don't remember the exact
the
moment. The Steelers' momentum, it was shifting, right?
Yeah, we were up 28-25. And yeah, the momentum was shifting. And yeah, we ended up going to kick a field goal, 31-25. Obviously, we held them to win. So,
God.
um, anyways, but I don't think you can say, like you were saying earlier, any of those guys outside of the Devontae was the clear like number one best receiver in football during any of their
Yeah,
times,
right.
whereas right now Devontae is clearly the number one receiver in the league, if not number two. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever
I
you
mean, anybody, no matter what, when everybody argues, I think it's when you get to the point that no matter what, you're being included in that conversation.
Yeah.
That's when you know you truly are
Totally.
that good, because
Yep.
there's we could be Packer homers about it,
Right.
and but at the end of the day, it seems like everyone's putting them in that conversation for
Yeah.
top
I think so
three.
too.
You know,
Yeah, so I'm going to Devontae, and obviously he's got a ways to go to add to his resume, and I hope he does that in Green Bay. When we sign him to the highest receiver contract ever. Moving on, let's start it off right here, and the only way we can do that is to talk about the beatdown we put on Chicago this past Sunday. My question to you is, what two things stuck
Ooh.
out to you in Sunday's win?
Yeah, what two things?
Yep.
How quickly it can go from oh shit to okay, they didn't touch our quarterback really the rest of the game. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Kind
Yep.
of like when Yash was starting against the
The Niners.
49ers, that first drive happened and you're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, you're like
So,
good.
so what stands out was your key to the game and what other guys' keys to the game was too. Is the offensive line ended up playing pretty solid
Yep.
against a good defense. Second thing would be my key to the game, right? Run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we're geniuses here, but it seems like your key to the game and my key to the game both were the reasons for winning the game.
Yeah. We're pretty smart, like, right?
I mean,
um,
I'd like to think that I've watched enough Packer football to see, the consistencies of when they play well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Good points. One of my two things that stuck out to me during Sunday's win was Kenny Clark. As I said the other day,
Yeah,
I mean, he's the MVP of the defense. He had two monster sacks on Fields.
big sacks.
He went down for a second with an injury, but came right back in to finish the game. Without him, bro, I'm not sure where this defense would be. The second thing that stood out to me was it didn't really stand out, but it didn't go unnoticed, but I was thinking about it before the game anyways, was Rashawn Gary's play. He led the team with 7 pressures, also led the team with 6 QB hurries and 1 quarterback hit. No sacks, obviously. He's turned into a very dependable quality pass rusher. Doesn't have the sacks that, blow up the stat sheet, but the pressures he's 9th in pressures across the league and 2nd QB hits. So the sacks will come. And yes, they come in bunches. So will we have a 3-sack game this Sunday? Probably. He hasn't missed a tackle yet this season. And with Za'Darius out, he stepped up. So bravo to him. Take
Yeah.
it away, Johnny.
Okay. So my question then for you. Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, statement first, combined for 135 yards on 24 carries, which was what I hoped would happen, right? They averaged 5.6 yards per carry. So, we've had enough sample size to see what AJ Dillon can do in this offense, right? And if he makes an impact, because we know what Aaron Jones can do, right? So you got the two of them, right? Aaron Jones goes down. I'm at the point now that if Aaron Jones is out of the game and AJ Dillon's in the game, I still think that Green Bay is. I mean, that's I'm not sitting there going shit. I mean, I prefer Aaron Jones in, but I'm not at that panic point, which means you got a really good 1-2 duo, right? Out of the two. So do you think that is the best? I mean, I've got my opinion, the best in the league for a 1-2 punch. There's a couple out there, but I'm going to let you speak to yours first, and then I'll let you kind of know where I think they stand.
Okay. Like you said, against a legit good Bears defense in what I would call an elite defensive front, with guys like Mack, Akeem Hicks, Robert Quinn. They had 135 yards, average over 5 yards a carry. My favorite thing about these two backs is that they're like the perfect pair balance-wise. Like they're, not that any of them lack in anything. Obviously, A.J. Dillon still has time and will still improve.
And they're both great dudes.
Yes. So Aaron Jones, you can do just about anything. Run in between the tackles, out to the tackles. You can pass block. Can catch the ball anywhere in the field now, whether it's downfield, screens, jet sweep, and obviously he can house call it on any play.
Right.
We've seen. Even that one where he stiff arm at the end. I mean, that's a huge play. And on the other hand, you got A.J. Dillon. He can run over anybody. He's been featured in the pass game a little bit. Had a passing touch or had a catch touchdown a couple weeks ago against the Steelers, and has produced. So far this season, they've both been healthy and available. And as I tell you all the time, availability is the best ability. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt is is a duo that comes to mind as the best. But
rank them.
They're out this week. So is this the best 1-2 punch in the league? Yes.
Right now, you say so?
Going into this next week, yes, they're the best 1-2 punch in the league because my other guys, they're not playing. They're both not playing. What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
See, here's the part that's hard because you gotta look. What I look at is with the second running back, how many teams would he start on? Maybe not right now or been in the last couple of years. So I mean, you named what would probably be the obvious in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You have Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray, but I don't know. That's very similar to Green Bay, right? Kamara and Jones and Latavius.
Yeah.
Not really sure. I mean, the Colts have Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, and Naheem Hines.
That's a pretty good trio, definitely.
Yeah. At the start of the year, I would have kind of also told you potentially between the Raiders and the Texans.
Definitely.
I think
Drake and Josh Jacobs.
Statistically, the one that showed up that maybe is not seen at the start of the year was probably Zeke and Tony Pollard.
I've
watched an okay amount of Dallas games this year and seen a lot of box scores, and Tony Pollard has played really well. So that's a
good. Yeah, I forgot about them.
So let's put those two in there, Jones and Dillon, and then put Kareem Hunt and
Nick
Chubb, but they're obviously hurt.
Right.
I mean, right now it's hard for me because I don't think something stands out yet. I want to see it for longer. Because at the end of the day, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I mean, those are guys that are established that they can go for freaking 120.
Either of them, yeah.
More, both of them.
Both get at the same
I'd say, I'll put us in the top 3. I'm not going to just say we're the best. I'm going to say top 3. I don't know where, but I'm comfortable with where we're at.
Oh, 100%. No, me too. I figured that'd be an interesting question because, they are just balling out so far. Okay. Next on tap, not my favorite topic, but the officials from the game on Sunday. Obviously, there were some missed calls, both sides of the ball. Kenny Clark offsides, which looking back on it now, the Bears left tackle actually flinched beforehand, so it should have been called a false start. The OPI call on EQ, the incomplete ruling on Amos's interception. Is officiating a problem, or has it always been this bad? And with more cameras and slow-mo, they're just getting talked about more. What do you think there's an issue that needs to be addressed, although it won't be addressed, or what do you make of it all?
The thing that really kind of stands out to me in the NFL right now is they've got that new thing where they can kind of be radioed in from like New York or whatever the hell they can. So how the hell do they sit there for 10, 15 seconds and you wonder if it's being talked about or they're being told, and then all of a sudden they still get the call wrong.
Right.
Those are the ones that really get me.
The reviews take forever. That's the biggest problem, I think.
Putting pass interference as a reviewable call and then taking it out. I don't
After a failure of
like. What are they doing with that? I mean,
they're falling into peer pressure too easily. Obviously, with that Rams Saints game.
The problem is just what comes back with everything else. Social media just allows us to go on Twitter, see everybody complaining.
Yep.
See all of this. So it's like everything else. Social
Bears
media,
fans, especially, obviously.
It's probably not that much worse. It's just social media. I think is probably
like everything in the world. I feel
it allows me to see the bad call in the Bengals Chiefs game that I no chance of watching.
Right.
And all of a sudden you see it and you're like, what the hell was that?
It was a terrible call, right?
You know, so yeah, I don't think it's probably worse. I think it's easy for us to highlight it.
Yeah, like Rogers has said on the McAfee show, the job, I mean, and I get it. The job as a ref is, I mean, impossibly hard and not a job I would ever want. But if it's not like egregious or like completely obvious, then if it were up to me and I was a ref, I would just never call it, as opposed to calling it like ticky tack or super inconsistent. If it's super obvious, then I'll do it. But yeah, no.
On that offensive pass interference call, whatever you want to call it, don't call it, whatever.
No.
The thing that gets me is that he was, and I'm not saying it should have been a penalty, but the Bears defender literally pushed Equanimous a second before that happened and shoved him off, which is technically illegal contact. Yeah. I'm not saying it should have been called because I understand.
How can the OPI be called?
That's just
that wasn't called.
It's just like, come on, man. You're gonna call the slight push off when you didn't call that he shoved him off his route a second before that. Whatever.
I mean, if it were up to me, I would have had neither of those calls be made. But if any of them were to be called, it was the illegal.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't. It's not like what Equanimous like shoved him to the ground and then cut. I mean, if anything, the one on Mercedes Lewis last year should have probably been called. Yeah, I think it was where he kind of put. I mean, it was pretty obvious, but it
was big dog though. So
it's hit or miss these days.
No, it is.
It was interesting. It was interesting though that I did see one tidbit real quick. That there was a picture I saw where you had the ref that was at the back of the end zone. He was saying out of bounds. The ref in the corner of the end zone on the sideline was ruling a touchdown. And the ref 10, 15 yards on the 10-yard line was the one throwing the flag. Yeah. So you had one guy saying incomplete, one guy saying touchdown, and one guy 20 yards back throwing a flag. So it's like
it's just as stupid. And the guy that threw the flag for the OPI was the one that would have been super close to the illegal contact, like right in front of his face. Maybe he was looking at the line. I don't know, but
it's a tough job. But it's just
either way, tough job. None of the calls, thankfully, came, in the fourth quarter or that. Yeah, really.
Yeah, let's be honest. The Bears fans can complain all they want, but they didn't lose that game because of the flags. They lost that game because they lost to a team that played better than them.
Yeah, and they scored 14 points. 7 of the points is because they picked on our sixth best cornerback. So yeah, I agree. So. Next tidbit I find absolutely hilarious. I chimed about this earlier this week. I'm sure, John, you know what I'm talking about. Former Bears center Olin Kreutz said he wanted to punch Aaron in the face after his "I own you" comments. I got a 2-part question for you. Is he just being a baby, or what do you make of his comments? Second part, if you could take one Packers player to help you in a fight, who would it be? Like straight up fist fight. Like it's you and the Packers player against two other.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, as far as what Olin said, I mean that guy's clearly just sour. From 10 years ago,
I think he's pulling into Michael Finley.
I just want to punch him in the face is just kind of like, okay. I mean, I think the whole NFL honestly thought it was pretty funny.
No, I mean,
there's got to be. Okay. There's got to be half of Bearland has thought it was honestly probably funny, and then the other half just are pissed because they hate him because I mean I'm sure they were F your family, you do this, yeah, you own this, So I'm sure there's some sour guys, but they're sour because he didn't play for the Bears.
Oh,
One guy.
it's a tough question because there's obviously a bunch of big old hosses on the team. Who are you taking? It's you and him versus two other good sized dudes, and you're in an alley, like just face to face about to brawl off. Like, what guy you taking? Who you duking it out with?
Billy Turner.
Oh, he's a freaking. As his Twitter name
He's,
says, mountain. Like, good
he's
God.
a scary dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude. That's your guy.
I'd say Billy Turner because I feel like he's probably more actually inclined to want to fight than a Mercedes Lewis.
I know that's kind of what it came down to me too. I was thinking big dog, but I went and looked through the roster and was just getting heights and weights down. And the guy that stuck out to me and who I'm taking to help me in a fight is
Hold
Dean.
on.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You're good. Go ahead. You're gonna say it. I was gonna guess, but go ahead.
No, so yeah, the guy I'm taking to help me in a fight is Dean Lowry. The dude, he's 6'6", 300 pounds. And not only that, he's a D lineman, which means he's good with his hands and he likes to get dirty. So if I'm taking one guy in a fight from the Packers, it's Dean Lowry. And if it's me and him versus I don't care what the size of the other dudes are, we're gonna win the fight because I'm gonna go kick my guy in the nuts while he attacks his guy, and then he'll help me attack the guy that's coming on me. And that's
what if you're going against Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh?
I'll probably run. No, they're probably run faster than me anyways. No, same thing. I mean, come on. There's no way I'm gonna be even close to squaring up with either of those guys because so my only chance is to go cheap shot, kick him in the balls, and hope Dean Lowry can, get his. I'll put Dean up against Ndamukong Suh, and I'll go up against Aaron Donald. I don't care. It's Dean. Honestly, it doesn't matter. So, anyways, I thought that'd be funny. As I said on Monday regarding Olin Kreutz, people who resort to violence are motivated to fight somebody because of comments like Aaron's. You know what I mean? Like they're 100% true. The comments, people like that are childish. Like exactly what you said. Like, oh, you want to punch him in the face? Like, okay, like
yeah.
You're like, what does that even mean? One, you're probably never going to see him in your entire life.
That is a sour response. He's
like
just
it's like a soft response. And like Aaron said on Magby Show, he said he didn't even know who he was. Or like he doesn't even know him. I don't think that he means like I don't know who he is.
Yeah, right.
He's like, I don't know him. So like, I don't know, I think it's childish. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Let's roll over some stats from the win on Sunday. Aaron Jones, 13 carries, 76 yards. 4 catches, 34 yards, and a touchdown. A.J. Dillon, 11 carries, 59 yards. Rodgers went 17 to 23, 195 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, which was the dagger. Alan Lazard, 3 catches for 27 yards and a touchdown on that very pretty play at the goal line. And over on the defensive side, we had 4 sacks, 2 from KC, 1 from my guy Dean Lowry, who's going to help me in a fight, and 1 from Johnathan Garvin. I got an interesting question for you here. Before we turn the page from Bears Week, Rodgers obviously had the famous "I own you" comment after this, after his game-clinching touchdown. I was watching Locked On Packers earlier today and thought this was a great question asked by Peter Bukowski. So I wanted to ask you, out of all the sayings that Rodgers has said over the years, like, RELAX or run the table for a few examples, where do you rank his "I own you" comments?
Yeah, I'd say the other two that came to mind is that my future's a beautiful mystery. That was an interesting one. And then how can you not be romantic about football? I got a lot of.
That's good too.
But I think I mean at the end of the day, his RELAX was like something that people say
legendary.
They say it to this day still.
Yeah.
Like, and not just us. Like guys in the NFL, like when they say, like if things are going wrong, REALAX.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. The I own you one was just, I mean, and
This isn't heat of the moment, is
it
it?
wasn't just once. He literally
He
just
went
kept,
off.
he told you, and you that I still own you.
He
In
dropped an F bomb in there. Like, come on.
man, that one's that I try. I'm trying not to live in the moment too much, but that was
That was pretty crazy.
that that one was the best individual quote that he ever had. But I think as far as being a leader and for his legend thing, I mean RELAX was just kind of like, shut the hell up
We're
and
good. And like
let
it's
me.
one of his first ones. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean that one just you're always gonna remember because it showed that no matter what, like that, like he didn't care. He was in control.
Yeah.
But
No,
then this one it literally showed I owned you.
yeah, and there's no
Yeah.
conversation going back and forth. I'm gonna have to put it at number one too because obviously the relaxed season and the run to table season ended up in a heartbreak during the playoffs, especially the relaxed year. But that run the table comment though, like that's pretty sweet to call it and then have to win, however many straight to get to the playoffs
Yeah, I think
with
it
the
was
team
6,
they
right?
had.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty unreal. But the I own you comments after the game glitcher, to Bears fans who were flipping them
Bears
off,
fans are going to
like, come on.
they're gonna have to, I mean that comment is gonna live in their brains for so
Like when
long.
they hear the name Aaron Rodgers, that's gonna be what's instantly in their head. Like instantly, and
Oh,
all those
I
people
see.
flipping him off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a general statement. It was like to somebody.
The thing is that it's so true that it was. I mean, it literally. I mean, that embarrasses that fan base. So,
Oh
like
man.
like all the friends. If you're ever talking about the Bears in the future, they're just gonna be like, they're always gonna remember that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers led Packers are now 21-5 against Chicago over the last decade and a half or so.
Yeah.
Massive rivalry. On the Pat McAfee show, he said he didn't think this was his last game at Soldier Field when asked about being a part of this rivalry. My question to you, are we going to see Aaron Rodgers back with the Pack next year? Like, there's no way he wants to leave, the success he's had not only against the Bears, but the entire NFC North. Does
Yeah,
he?
Rob. But remember, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He's not
He doesn't.
committed. As Jermichael
Um,
said, oh, wait, I forgot what he said because,
I mean, I felt like this was the first time, like in the recency, that he's kind of given off that like I don't think it's going to be my last time here,
yeah,
which was he's always kind of been like I don't know what's going to happen, I don't know what's going to happen, and this was the first time he kind of said something where like oh, so maybe
yep.
so. I don't know. I mean, there's so much until something happens with that guy because when the off season starts, he's probably not going to say something for a long
He's not
time.
going to say much, and everybody's going to build
Yep.
up these stories. And Mr. Editor Adam Schefter is going to come out with some crazy dumb
Oh
stuff.
Mike Florio, my absolute
Oh my gosh!
favorite, will come out with some great rumors.
Yeah,
Hate
no,
that guy. Hate that guy, by the way.
yeah, I hate him too. So, all right, Bears week once again was a complete success. We took them down 24-14 at Soldier Field. We're 5-1 and atop the NFC North. Johnny, we got the Washington football team. Go for it.
I picked them in fantasy, by the way, before the start of the year to be my defense.
Ouch.
I thought that defense was actually going to be good. They've been pretty bad.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
I mean, I know they've got a front four defensively. They're all first round picks.
Yep.
They've got some experience throughout the defense. I mean, but some tidbits on us. I mean, Packers are the only team in the league to start 5-1 in each of the last 3 seasons.
Let's go.
Under Matt LaFleur, Packers are 9-1 in the month of October. Those are always kind of interesting stats because they've always been extremely loaded for Green Bay. Like every time I've ever watched Green Bay play, they always have kind of crazy statistics in the month of October and at home and whatnot like that. Oh, it's kind of interesting. Since 2019, Aaron Jones has 10 touchdowns in the month of October, which is second in the NFL.
Perfect.
In regards to our pick'ems, will he score first this weekend? Well, here's the thing, Rob. As we remember, I won again. So
Yes,
regardless of what you think, yes or no, I get to make that decision if he's on your team or not. But go right ahead, do your thing, because you can say whatever you want. I'm not going to be influenced. You don't have to try to play trick. You know what? I went through what you did last week with Lazard down at the bottom of your list. You can try your tricky games. It's not going to work on me, Rob. Do you think he's going to score first?
I don't, honestly. I don't think against that Washington front that he's going to score first. If any running back's going to score first, it's A.J. Dillon. That's who my favorite to score first this week is A.J. Dillon. So whoever has the first pick, say if I had it, I'll probably take him.
No, you shut up. You're not going to take him, and you're not going to take him with the second pick. You take him with your third if you did. Don't play these games with me.
No, that question was just thrown in.
As long as 33 and 17 are healthy, those guys are going to be the 2 first picks.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I love the tidbits. Those are great. Week 7, obviously, we're hosting the Washington football team on Sunday at noon. We're 9.5-point favorites, which is a lot. They're 2-4, and obviously they'll be playing pretty desperately as they'll need a win to stay alive as far as the playoffs go, if that's what they're expecting to do. We just had a massive win at Soldier Field against a longtime rival. Lost some key guys to injury, obviously Myers, Savage. To add to our already injury-plagued team, it's a noon game, John. My question is, are you worried about a slow start this Sunday, or is everybody fired up after last weekend's win, to where we shouldn't worry about it? What do you think?
I got you. This has got to be. This is typically in Aaron Rodgers' career, the type of game that they get a fast start, and a noon game at home, kind of in October. The weather's still decent, assuming it'll be decent, right? Yeah, I hope that this is that fast start game. That because we haven't really had one. I really feel like where we've we had games like I think it was like in 2014 where we'd put up 3 touchdowns in the first half, no problem. It seemed like,
Right.
Hoping this is kind of one of those games and not one of those. I hope this is like one of those Packers Raiders games that you and me watched together 2 years ago. Wasn't that when Rodgers threw for 5 touchdowns?
Yep. We kicked their ass.
Hoping for one of those games and not one of those. Gosh, did we play the Jaguars at home last year? Was that? I can't remember because we struggled against them, and then
I don't even know with no fans. I completely forget.
Because remember, MVS had the touchdown where like the ref got in the way of the defensive player. I'm trying to remember. I'm hoping it's not one of those struggle games. But this has the feeling of like a classic Green Bay get out, score 14 points.
Game's over by halftime type of game.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm hoping based on the past. But
Yep. No, I'm with you. Washington football team's given up an average of 34.3 points over their last 4 games.
Yeah.
We score more than 35 on Sunday, Johnny. What are you thinking?
35 is a lot.
It's a lot, but
I'm never gonna say that we're gonna score over 35 points. The over under is 49. Green Bay, what'd you say? Green Bay is favored by like 8.5 or 9 or something like that.
Yep. At least from what I saw, it could be different elsewhere.
So 30-22. So they're kind of predicting this game to be kind of like a 30-20 type game. Yeah, I just don't. 35 is a lot to ask, Rob. I think that for me, that 30-point is kind of really. I don't see I don't see them scoring more than 24, 25 points. I'm just throwing a random 25 out there. So I think if we can get to a 27, we'll be fine.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
I'm with you. But I agree with you, but I'm thinking we're going to score like 38.
I hope so, Rob.
Like I said earlier with AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones, clearly I'm not biased. They're the best duo in the league. And we're going to score 38 points on Sunday, which obviously is a stretch. But about the slow start thing, I think we dropped 20 in the first half behind Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon pounding it. One of those games where I think we control the time of possession like pretty crazily. We say we get the ball first, we drive down 5-6 minute score or 5-6 minute drive to score. They get a 3 and out. Next thing you know, it's our ball again for another 5, 6, 7 minutes if we can stay on the field. If you would have asked me before last weekend, like in last weekend's win and how that game went, I probably would have said maybe expect a slow first quarter like we saw in Chicago. But the way we closed the game out and obviously the energy coming out of Lambeau and D-Box back, I think the guys are fired up. Not that D-Box playing, but just he's back at practice. It seems to be, pretty energetic. I think we scored 38. So moving on. We're rocking our throwback uniforms this weekend. I've got an immediate favorite when talking about our throwbacks. I would be wearing this year's throwback jersey that I got, but at the game against the Lions, I was wearing my Devontae jersey. He walked over, I took it off, and he signed it for me. So that is up in a frame to my right. Which throwback uniforms are your favorite?
Which ones are my favorite? I think it was the 1929 one. Okay. As far as favorites, I think they're all ugly. Well, not all. I think the ones we're wearing this weekend are legit. I really like the 1950s.
No, they're cool.
Like, I think those ones are really cool. I don't mind the one you're wearing, but the one that we wore in the 1929 one when Donald Driver scored that touchdown.
Oh, the brown helmets.
Those were the ugliest things.
I know, but I love those jerseys alone, like with the circle.
Yes, here
with the helmet and the pants.
Yeah, I love. Right. I'm talking uniforms, so I'm not necessarily jersey uniforms. But one thing that I always said for a while is that it always seemed like for a good 5 years in a row, when Green Bay wore their throwbacks, they dominated.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They dominated. So maybe this is literally the dominant game against. Against
these jerseys are sick. Like I feel like
I think these are really cool.
Is that everybody likes them, whereas opposed to every other one, it's like.
I mean, people like around the league, like actually a lot of people
everybody thinks so.
I mean, I actually always liked the color rush white on whites the Green Bay wore too. Yeah. I know that those aren't throwbacks, but just like kind of like a side note, I always really liked the white on whites. I thought that
it was clean. Cool. I just have bad memories from that Seahawks Thursday night game. So that game like put a downer for those uniforms. Like, where they had that on the run touchdown to Tanyan, and then we ended up losing. Like we were up by 7 in the fourth, I think, and then Aaron Jones fumbled, and then
it's okay. I really like the uniforms. We wore them against the Bears one time too. Yeah, either way. And I always wanted to see Green Bay wear like a green on green type thing, which is why I really like these jerseys that the Packers are gonna wear. I mean, I just think they're pretty sick.
Right. No, I agree. You ready to roll on to trivia?
Yeah, ready to roll on.
Okay, so I'll throw the question up.
Early, you got it, or you want me to?
You can take it away. That's cool.
I gotcha. All right, so in honor of our throwback 1950s jerseys, what year did Lambeau Field open? Hint: it was originally called the New City Stadium. So in what year? Another hint: in honor of our 1950s throwbacks. So there's your hints. Would be that.
That's tough.
Yeah, I had to do a little bit. I mean, it's tough because Green Bay went back and forth between Milwaukee, Green Bay, staying in Green Bay. So you have to do a little bit of research to kind of really figure out where they were playing, because they bounced back
Right.
and forth.
Do you mind pulling up the Twitter chat? Because obviously the comments don't stroll through here, just in case we get somebody chiming in from Twitter. Question is, as John said, in what year did Lambeau Field, also known as New City Stadium at the time, open? I didn't know the answer to this question, so I think it's an interesting one to ask. Did you know before?
I didn't know the exact year. I did not. That it was. I just knew the decade. I didn't know the exact year on that, but
Preston P says 1963.
he's close. It was named Lambeau. I think they named it Lambeau in 1965.
Okay.
But it was technically the same, but it was called New City Stadium in the 50s.
Right. So it's a you threw some little trick into here. I like it. I like it.
So okay, so let's while we're waiting, what's your prediction?
I think we got a winner.
Did we get one?
You got Twitter pulled up?
I didn't have to reopen it. It's all you. Who's got
Preston P, a guy who guessed before 1957?
1957.
Preston. Great job, Preston. Great job. That was a tough one. So I'll give it to him. He must have. I'm not going to assume he looked it up on Google, but I'm also going to assume that you probably looked it up on Google. So what'd you say, Johnny? Predictions?
So yeah, what's your prediction? What's your early prediction?
Early prediction. It can change because we come on Sunday mornings, and that I always seem to be.
It changes once you see guys in and out, and then you kind of get a different feeling. I know, Rob, you always you're a little bit more emotional on game day, so maybe take these predictions a little bit more seriously, because game day you're out here telling everyone we're going to score 60.
like last weekend in the intro video, I said the only thing me not taking the Packers to win by 30 is the Bears defense.
Pretty important part of the game, but okay.
Yeah, no shoot. Okay, I have a pretty realistic and non-biased prediction. I think their defense. I think we always have these teams with like quarterbacks that are going through a slump, and we're always hoping they stay in that slump. But of course, they always find their groove against us, or like guys who are injured and have missed a bunch of games, and they come back for the game against us and go off, sort of thing,
Yeah.
So obviously, the Washington football team's defense has been struggling. Everybody thought they were going to be super good before the year, and they haven't. I think that Chase Young gets some pressure, helps the defense kind of maybe, not catch fire, but you get a little juice. And I think they'll perform better than what they have the last 4 games. They've given up 30 plus over the last 4 games in each of them. With that being said, Packers, I know I said they're going to score 38 earlier. If I'm going to bet, I'm going to go Packers 31 to 17. Aaron Rodgers goes off. All those haters from last week has to watch him, eat up some more stats and get after it a little more. 31-17. My MVP of the game, Aaron Jones. I'm feeling a big game from him. Although I still will pick A.J. Dillon with the first pick if you let me get the first pick. But 31-17, John, what are you thinking for Sunday?
So what I said earlier was what's the over under, about 49, and Green Bay favored by 8.5. So when I put those numbers together and I kind of think of us getting to a fast start, for me the numbers that come up are like 30-20. I think we hit the 30 number. I don't think we fly by it, but maybe we do technically start strong with marching down the field, but we're gonna have to get some field goals in there. So whether it's starting off and we get down to the 5-yard line, we fail and get 2 field goals, and we're like, damn, we really did so good. And then we start converting, or maybe we convert early and then we slow down and then we have to settle for field goals off of a big strip sack, and then we could have really put the game away and get the field goal. So 30-20.
I got you. That's a fair and what I think is going to be an accurate prediction. So that about does it, man. We're about at 50 minutes. That's a pretty good happy medium. We like to stay about 45. We've probably been going an hour almost every time, but
yeah,
what does it matter? You know, we both have young kids. Rowan 2, my daughter 3 months old. So it's not like we have anything else we could be doing, right? So, any last word?
It
Go
gets
ahead.
me out of being dad duty.
Yeah, does it? I usually have to make
on Wednesday night.
Okay, after going to work, coaching after school, and then coming home late. Your wife must be an absolute saint.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed she hasn't gotten me my second bowl of shrimp scampi yet.
Yeah, well, she's probably busy doing a lot of other things, I would imagine. I know she's not sitting nearby to probably hear me, but
oh yeah, she is. She's sitting on the couch right next to us.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Any last words you want to chime in here before we shut it down?
Throwback jerseys. At home, noon game.
Against a not so good opponent.
Not so good opponent. It's time to put up them points.
It's dub time, baby. That's what I like to hear. Perfect. Okay, thanks for everyone who tuned in and chatted with us tonight. We'll be back on Sunday at 11 to do a preview of the game and to make our player picks for who we think will score first. Check us out on Twitter at Rob Westerman3 for myself and for John, J Beckman 30. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you Sunday.